Hello and welcome to Software Pulse Building Java Desktop Applications, and I'm John McNeil. And in the video today we're going to showcase a data reporting application. The application allows you to interrogate data that's in the database in the back end and to set a date range and produce graphs on that date for specific aspects of the data that's held. It's based around data from mobile phone SIMs. So you may be familiar with the terminology Internet of Things. One of the ways of having devices or Internet of Things devices deployed out there is to use a SIM in it and use the GPRS mobile phone signal to transmit data across the mobile phone network. And this is one such application that we're going to demonstrate here today, where we've used the SIMs in IoT devices, pulled the data into a data repository, and then we've produced graphs to monitor the situation for those devices that form that portfolio of devices that we wish to look after, monitor and look after. What we're now going to have a look at is some SIM type data that we are going to produce reports of to be able to monitor an operation, an operational situation, and report to, say, the operational board who are monitoring the progress of the service. So let's go take a look. So what we have here is the application. It's a Windows-based executable application. It's written in Java and using JavaFX. And we'll double-click the thing to launch the application. And what we get is this basic window here, main window here, and a series of tabs, and each one of the tabs allows you to see a different set of information. And then over on the left here we've got two date fields and two buttons. So what the date fields allow you to do is you can set a date. So I'm going to pick I'll pick December the 1st of 2020, and then December the 31st of 2020. And if I press the graphic button, what this will show me is how many of the SIMs in the whole portfolio of SIMs that we're getting data from were operational and how many were allocated for other uses. Then what we've got is we can look at the number of SIMs, number of SMS messages sent each month. And for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the beginning of the year, January. So January the 1st to 31st of December. And what we can see here is we can see for each month the number of SMS messages. And what's happening is they've generally trailed down as the system has reduced in usage. And the same we can see, so that's SMS messages. And the way that these devices work with SIMs is when you want to contact the device, when you want to talk to the device, you have to wake it up. So you'll send an SMS message to a mobile phone number, just like you would to any other mobile phone number. It would be received by the device, and the device would check who the originator was, look at the information that comes in the SMS message. If it's a valid SMS message, it would wake up and it would use GPRS to transmit to a known IP, a message to a known IP number, which is where your server will be sitting monitoring for device connections, and it would provide the IP number of the device, because the devices don't have a fixed IP number, they get them dynamically allocated by the mobile phone network that they belong to. So when they wake up and they connect, they'll get a dynamically allocated mobile phone number, a dynamically allocated IP number, which they'll then send over GPRS to the server saying, if you want to talk to me, I'm at this address. And then a conversation will take place and there'll be some data transferred, and then the conversation will end, and after a suitable period of with no transmission, the IoT device will go back to sleep, disconnect its GPRS connection, and wait for another SMS message to arrive before it wakes up and reports. And each IoT device will have its own API with what information it will support and respond to. So what we saw here was the SMS messages waking up the various devices in the field, and now we can have a look at the data, the amount of data that was transmitted over those months. So typically the pricing model for a service, a GPRS mobile phone type services, there would be a standing charge for provision of the service, so much a month say. There would be a charge rate for SMS messages, and then there would be a charge rate for the amount of kilobytes or megabytes transmitted via data. So what this allows you to do is to track how much data your operation is using over a period of time to work out what your costs are likely to be, and also to understand how particular uses of your operational service are affecting your operational costs. And indeed this was one of those, this is what this was intended to shine a light on. Then we've got SMS by hour. So what this shows is that most of the activity was taking place first thing in the morning. This specific data set comes from a system where in the morning it would wake up and it would go out and talk to all of the devices that were in the field to get a status update. So every day it would collect a status update, and that's why you could see a spike in the morning where there's lots of activity, and then it would trail off during the day because the messages that were going out through the rest of the day were maintenance messages, you know, getting them to adjust things, tweak things based on the data that they had reported. So that's the SMS messages. And data by hour. So this is a similar view of how the data is being transmitted over that same sort of 24-hour period. And this is again over the whole year, and again because there were lots of SMS messages in the morning, there was also lots of data transmitted in the morning, so there's a bit of a correlation. What's interesting is that there were very few SMS messages towards the end of the day, but there seems to be a lot of data activity, so that might be something that you may want to investigate to find out why there was so much data activity when there didn't seem to be a large amount of SMS messaging to go along with that. Was there some issue going on there? Then what you've got, what I'm going to do now is adjust this to be just the last 3 months. So we'll take October, 1st of October to the 31st of December and graph this. And what this is showing is SMS messages by hour, but how things have changed over the months. And if you remember right at the beginning when we looked at SMS messages by month, you see it's trailing down there. So your monthly SMS messages by hour, you can see that each of the months the amount of activity was gradually going down as the service activity ran down. Now that may be a seasonal change and what you expect, or there may be something else like just a drop in volume in business, and that might explain it. And conversely, we've got the same pattern for the data. So we looked at the SMS 3 months of SMS data. Now we're looking at 3 months of GPRS data going across the system, and again you can see each month it's gradually dropping off. So each one of these tabs, whatever you set the month value to, it will remember that. So it's remembered it's the 1st of December to the 31st of December. That's just 1 month's worth of pie, and here it's the 1st of January to the 31st of December. So each of these it's remembered as you do it. And once you've got it all set up the way you want, obviously because this is a report, one of the things it allows you to do is it allows you to hit the publish it button, and it will produce all of these graphs into a report. And here's the report. It's a PDF document. It's got some text at the beginning just setting the scene for the report. Then it covers each graph that we saw from the tabs with an explanation of what it's showing, what information it's showing. In there you can see there's the 18 SIMs that made up the portfolio. The SMSs by month gradually trending down. The data by month also gradually trending down. the SMSs by hour, most of the activity being in the morning. The data by hour, again, most of it being in the morning. The three monthly SIMs comparison, showing that each month the activity is gradually dropping off. And the data by month. There you are. A 7-page report, PDF, created from there, ready for you to distribute to form maybe the centerpiece of a presentation to your operational board, for example. So there we are. That's just showcasing something you could do using JavaFX as a desktop application, using some data from some sim data that was taken from field use for IoT type devices deployed in the field. Hopefully you've enjoyed what you have seen as a showcase application, and it's inspired you to think of some applications that you may want to go forward and build yourself. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is Software Pulse, building Java desktop applications, and I'm John McNeil.